Hi, I'm Aude. Welcome to Alpine Properties YouTube channel. We work in the French Alps. Specifically, we sell property in and around the ski areas of the Haute-Savoie. For the last 20 years, we've been the leading estate agent in this region. In this video, I'm going to answer the question, what questions should I ask when buying an off-plan property? As part of the search of your dream in the French Alps, you have decided maybe that a new ski property is the best option. So they usually start off a little more expensive. However, there are many advantages. You won't have to inherit any problems from an older property. You can choose your fittings and decor, and it will be built to the latest thermal standards, so be cheap to run. In addition, there are reduced acquisition costs, 2.5% compared to 8%. And don't forget that they come with a 10-year building guarantee and the Garantie Financière d'Achèvement, which is always referred to as GFA, because it's much less of a mouthful to say. So if the developer goes bust during the build or after the building will still be completed and your 10 years guarantee will still be honored. That's all fine. The obvious questions you'll have in mind to ask are, when will the property be finished and when do I have to pay? These are both fair enough, but they are only a starting point. Answers to these questions will be close to hand, the delivery date will probably be clearly advertised and your agent will have the scale of payments. So you might think to ask about the ongoing copropriété charges too. That's a harder question to answer and it may be difficult to accurately calculate at the reservation stage. In theory, these charges should be much lower than for a second-hand apartment because there should not be much upkeep required. However, if there are lifts installed, a spa or a pool, beware. The yearly charges will be significant. That's not the whole story though. There needs to be clarity between you and the developer at the earliest opportunity. Ideally, everything should be written down at each stage. You should pay careful attention to the notice descriptive, which outlines how the property will be built and laid out. It will include details on how the building will be constructed, from the foundations to the roof. Most importantly, it will include details of how the property will be finished internally, from heating and electrics to floor and wall finishes in the various rooms. Any modifications of the original layout outlined in the notice descriptive will need to be fully documented. Modifications are always subject to approval by the developer's architect or engineer and will incur an extra cost. This document is legally required to be in French. However, your Alpine property agent will be happy to provide an English translation for your reference if required. Any other questions? Yeah, what sort of heating is being fitted? Is it the best option or the cheapest option? In the case of an apartment, there probably won't be room for discussion, but for a chalet, there could be many options. The developer will probably have chosen the best value equipment, but it would be worth discussing if this is the best long-term option. Also, ask how much of the interior surfaces will be tiled. This is another place they can save money. Can you see a sample of the flooring? What level of equipment will you find in the kitchen? Quite often, a buyer will not know where to start with these questions. And reading a sheet of specifications is something only an architect will understand. So finally, if after asking these questions, after visiting another property or show property provided by the developer, if you're finally ready to buy, then now is the time to sign a reservation agreement. That is the only way to secure the apartment you've chosen. So it may turn out that you would like some changes to proposed specifications. Many developers will want a reservation agreement to be signed before they will consider any changes. This is where good communication between your agent and the developer is key. As part of the agreement, it is likely that there will be a Travaux Modificatifs Acquéreurs, called TMA. So this TMA document lays down how modifications should be requested and often stipulates an admin fee for each submission. A detailed electrical plan will be provided by the developer early in the building process. This is the time to carefully verify where the plugs will be fitted and the lights too. Go through each room and see if you are happy. Adding them or moving them during the build will be much easier than doing so afterwards. In most cases, changes will be then submitted via the TMA and the developer will get back to you with an estimate of the cost of any changes you want. There are lots more questions to ask. Will the approach on the parking be sealed with tarmac? Will there be landscaping of the surrounding land? And what happens if the property is delivered late? In this case, it is very hard to hold a developer to a date. There's usually a weather clause that will allow the builder some leeway. And finally, there's usually 5% of the total cost held back until all the final bits of snagging are being completed, and there will always be things that need doing. Make sure that this final amount isn't paid until you are satisfied. So to sum up, changes are possible, they are easier to make on individual chalets than apartments, and everything needs to be documented. Verbal agreements will hold no water if there is an issue at the later stage. Whatever you decide to do, well, good luck, and if you have any questions to ask on this subject, please put them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them. Bye-bye!